a guinea right there. No feet. All right, we missed you guys. Taking a break. We've been working really hard on getting the boards cut for the powerhouse. We put our second log on the sawmill, so stay tuned for that. The next couple videos are going to be about us trying to wrap up this building, literally wrap it up from the outside to keep the water off of it and everything else. It's been a little bit too long out in the elements, and I'm really laser focused right now on trying to get that building buttoned up. So stay tuned for more of those videos. We'll give you guys some progress updates, but today we wanted to talk about guineas and our favorite little guinea,
Knuckles.
Knuckles.
It's Knuckles. Yeah, Guinea, if you guys have been watching our channel for a while, I love them. They're one of my favorite animals on the farm here.
Yeah.
I think they have so much personalities, and they have such a wonderful job that they do here. And they're low maintenance. They don't really cost anything. They can get all their dietary needs just by foraging. You don't have to do much besides just giving them a little water and a little treat at night to get them to come back into the coop.
Yeah, and one of the things that you'll have to really hone in on or really think about hard before you get guineas is the training, because they're unlike chickens where you can just pretty much put chickens in a building and, you know, within a day or two they're pretty good to go. You can let them in and out, they come right back at night. Guineas are a lot different. When you go to train a guinea, it's going to take a big commitment, otherwise they'll end up in the trees.
Yeah, generally when you get them, and I would suggest to get them when they're keets or little like babies.
The younger the better.
Yeah, and then that way they can kind of hone in and know this is where their home is going to be. And what you'll do is we put them in a cage, and you can leave them in a cage, and I put them in the actual chicken coop because it works very well to raise them in a chicken coop. When they're in the coop,
or the coop that you're going to put them in, you can just put them in there and leave them. But because we put them in with the chickens, we put them in an additional cage so they could get used to their surroundings and hone in on that little location.
Yeah, so we use a dog cage. So we put the little keets in the dog cage and we keep them in the chicken coop. And then from there, you can leave them in there a month or two so they get used to everything until they get bigger.
The longer the better.
And then once they're in there, then you can let them go. And they see the chickens are all around them. They're seeing the food. They're getting the food and water when it's time. And then you can kind of let them out and then they do their thing.
They develop that rhythm too. So they'll feel the chickens will leave, and then in the night the chickens will come back in. So they're developing that rhythm with them as well. So when, you know, about a month, sometimes we've almost gone 2 months, then you'll just kind of open up their cage, open up the chicken coop, let everyone out, and then remove the cage, and then they'll come back in with the chickens and start to roost and everything, and then you'll notice that it's pretty much routine. Like she was saying though, you'll want to make sure that you coax them a little bit. The guineas that we found like the white millet, so that works really good for training them in. They'll come right back to that chicken house every single night to get the white millet, and then after you get them suckered in for a while, it's become a routine and you don't have to give it to them as much.
Yeah, or you can even use, you know, if there's like sunflower seeds, some of your, you know, if you have some seeds, they like those as a treat. So that's the best way to get them to come back at night. So you want to get them in the coop, you know, around before dusk happens, and then they'll be fine. Because I know a lot of people go ahead and they let them just go wherever they want, and they're up in the trees, and what happens is the owls, the foxes, and then they get eaten one by one. You're like, oh, there goes another one, there goes another one, there goes another one.
They have very bad night vision, okay? So what happens is they'll roost up on the trees, and the owl will come and land next to them, and the owl will just slow walk them off the branch, and as soon as they go off the branch and throw their wings out to fly away, that's when the owl grabs them, and then that's game over. So we have never, knock on wood, lost our guineas to that kind of a situation. So we've lost them to a couple of crazy rock throwing lawnmower incidents, and the other one was just totally crazy. But that was it. It was like nothing, I would say, nature-wise has happened to our guineas.
Yeah, they are very, very, very disease resistant.
Yeah.
And the only thing you need to look at, they're a little different than a chicken. A lot of times people, if you go to get your chicken, some people grab them by the feet.
Don't do that.
Do not do that, because they have very sensitive legs. They'll start spinning and turning, and they can really mess up their feet. And that's probably the only thing that I would think ever happens.
Speaking of feet, we'll tell you a little bit about what happened to Knuckles, our guinea with no feet, that we kind of thought about this video was about. Because we just wanted to show you guys also the resiliency of animals and ourselves when we're put into situations that we're a lot tougher and stronger than we think, okay? So basically, I think something got a hold of the guinea, a dog or something, but we noticed it was limping. We checked it out, and the feet were literally kind of dangling.
They're falling
off,
like
ripped off.
Yeah, both of them.
So we weren't sure what to do. Like, do we finish cutting them off? Do we take it to the vet? And we just thought, you know, we're just going to let nature take its course. So the strong will survive and the weak won't. And we were going to see like how it progressed. Okay, basically we let nature take its course. And the feet actually fell off. She developed a scab over the wound. This all happened in late winter time too, which has a lot to do with her recovery. So just think about that. The weather conditions were conducive. If it was a hot, summery type of atmosphere, then we might have addressed it differently, because you would have a different outcome. But because it was still winter time and we were still coming into spring, she had that time to heal. Her legs scabbed over. She goes out now with the guineas every single day and forages and goes all over the place. I found her many times down at the way bottom of the property here. Yeah,
because at the beginning she just kind of stayed close to the house or the coop here, and she would hang out, and then later on she just kept farther and farther away, and now she can literally, she runs. I mean, you have no clue. I'm like, I have to look. Is that Knuckles? Is that Knuckles? I can't tell.
She's just a little shorter.
She's really good. Yeah, because generally the guineas, the female, and let's talk about that. A lot of people don't know how to tell a difference between a male and a female. The guineas, the male and female, generally when they're full grown,
you hear that noise?
That's a boy.
Yes.
One
syllable.
Chee 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 chee. That's always a boy. The females have a 2-syllable sound, like buckwheat, 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 like that, and that's how you tell. And the females are generally smaller than the males, and the males have more of the helmet, you know, on top of their head.
Yeah.
So that's how you can tell the difference.
Definitely the main signature though is the call. You can hear the buckwheat versus the 1-syllable. We have another pack. I've been showing you guys the guineas as they move around the property. There's another pack of them kind of moving by here. They like to stay in large groups, and then in springtime they'll break off, get their little clans together, have eggs and all that stuff, fight over the females.
We're hoping, I think we have a female, out in the pasture. So I hope we can get some little baby Keats. I would love it.
We have a lot of broody. We have a couple chickens broody, a duck that's broody on 13 eggs or so. So there's going to be a lot of little babies, chicks and ducklings, and maybe some guinea hatching around here. So stay tuned for those, and we'll walk you guys through how to raise them up. And we're off grid, so we don't use any heat lamps, electricity, any of that stuff. So we'll show you guys hardcore how to get in there, raise them like nature intended them to be raised, and maybe give you guys some tips on that. But they do like to break apart, and then they come back together, and they always travel in a large group, which is very beneficial to their security system, because they are what they call the farmer's watchdog, and they use a loud squawking noise as a signaler to you know, danger or approaching danger. Especially we have eagles and hawks that fly over.
Oh, I mean, they sound the alarm. It's like, you know, they look up and they go crazy, and if anybody was around, they would run away because they're good. Like people, the ranchers like them because they're good at eating copperheads and rattlesnakes, and then the farmers get them. You know, you have to worry about birds coming over, maybe eating orchards. You know, they like ticks, they like bugs, they like beetles, they like termites, they like ants. I mean, they will eat everything, and they're wonderful about just taking care of the property of pests. They're like the best chemical-free pest control you could imagine.
Especially in your taller grasses that you don't cut as much, because one of the problems with ticks is they love the tall grass, and a lot of homesteaders leave grass tall because we have pasture areas and stuff like that. So if you put those guineas out, they'll monitor those grasses for you, keep that tick population down, and they're just a lot of benefits. And that, again, that's why they call them the farmer's watchdog, because they just get really loud and obnoxious. One time we had a neighborhood, you know, dog that was out roaming about, and it came onto the property here, and the guineas started really working up a noise, you know, I was like looking around, you know, you could see them, and it was right over here in the pasture field, and the dog actually got pretty close, and the guineas just meet, and the dog literally just turned around and rode off into the sunset. So they really are protectors of the fields.
Better than the dogs.
And they're really good in gardens. A lot of you guys don't like the chickens in your gardens because they're very destructive.
They scratch so much.
Yeah, guineas like to scratch disturbed earth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so when you guys just work it up, they're going to get in there and really get at it. But once it's kind of flattened out and kind of mellow and your stuff's growing in there, they don't come by and pick your tomatoes and all that stuff. They're really good at staying away from your veggies and just eating the bugs. So just another good thing to think about if you're gardening, if you want your pest-free garden organically. This will be a way to do it. Another reason why we have the ducks is because we have our apple orchard here and our plums and pears and all this stuff. And the ducks, Indian runners, are very useful in getting slugs and bugs, and they don't really do any damage as long as there's not a puddle of water around. Because if there's a puddle of water, there's going to be damage. Well, we really have enjoyed the guineas.
Oh no, they're amazing. And then they're native of Africa.
Right.
And there's 7 different species of guineas, and the kind that we have here is called the helmeted pearl. They're sort of like black and white polka dotted, how they look.
Yeah.
And that's the most popular. So those are the ones you're going to see the most out of the 7 different species that they have.
So that's our guinea spin.
I just love them. They really are amazing. The only thing is if you have next door neighbors or something, they can be loud. You need to have an area where you can have them that their noise isn't going to bother people. But other than that, they actually, like I was saying, they are the greatest birds at taking care of your area. You know, if there's pests around and if there's intruders around. Or birds, whatever, they do a great job.
And they are from Africa, but they're super resilient. Like we have really cold weather here, below 0, and they tolerate the cold really good and the heat really good. They just don't really care for the snow. So if we have any kind of, you know, snow really going on more than a couple inches, they'll stay inside for most of the day, and you won't really see them out much. But other than that, they're super resilient as far as the weather goes, which is really good, why we like them too.
One more point. So the one thing about them is they're not going to be like a loving animal or a loving pet.
Yeah.
They're here to do their job. They're the very free spirit. You know, they don't want to be like picked up all the time. They like to go do their job and then come home at night and keep to themselves. But they do add a lot of flavor and color to our property, and I just love them to death. I love them.
Yeah, so if you guys have ever thought about guineas, maybe give them a try. Check out some other videos. We did some other videos earlier on in our YouTube channel here about guineas, and we just thought it'd be a good topic to readdress because a lot of y'all are getting chickens and maybe have never even heard about guineas, and I think they're just super beneficial for your homestead, and you should give them a look.
I definitely would. I mean, I'm a guinea person.
And we don't have any favorite place to get them from, so you guys do your homework. Just try to find a place that works good for you. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the little bit of guinea information we dropped on you today. We're going to get busy right now. I have to put some more wrap on the building over there, and then we're going to start putting those boards up and show you guys every process of that and how that goes, and the look that it's going to have once we're finished.
And it's going to look amazing.
I think we're pretty good. I got all my materials ready, so here we go. So if you guys got any questions about guineas, leave them down below. We'll be glad to answer those for you. Otherwise,
we will see you on the next one.
All right, we got to get busy. Here we go.